All right, so I believe we're live now, so we'll just wait for people to come on in. Oh, we already got three people watching. Hello, Pentium Man, Jared Thompson, and Main Fire Alarms in the EAS. Hello to all of you. Pentium Man, I believe I've already mentioned this. I mentioned this in like every streaming video, but smoke detector is buried under a pile of junk. I can't get to it. I've looked all through that basement for a detector that could be beeping. It's not the one in our house. I don't know where it's coming from. Safety, security, and fire alarms. Hello. I am going to test a fire alarm system at a water plant. Nice. How is my Sunday going? Well, so far it's pretty good. It's just before noon. We've already been to church and then we went and ate breakfast this morning. So I'd say so far so good. Am I moving away from fire alarms or am I still into them? I mean, I'm definitely less interested than I used to be, but I'm not entirely moving away from them as of right now. So don't worry. I still make videos about once a week, probably. I've now got an MS4. Nice. I'm going to make new system test number 1. Nice. I've been traveling today. Cool. Jared, this one is a wheelock. In my new house. Cool. I might have to go watch that if I think of it. I'm hoping to get an NFS 320. Um, I've heard they're good panels, although I feel like they're usually pretty expensive. Although, if you can get one, I would definitely encourage you to do so. I do believe they're able to be programmed from the front panel, so maybe, or 5UD. If I were you, I would personally go with a 5UD because for newer enthusiasts, 320 might be a little bit difficult to use. Any plans or projects coming up that I'm doing? Not off the top of my head that I can think of. Although I do have some things planned in the more distant future that I may look into doing. Um, I do have some projects planned that are not really fire alarm related, but are sort of fire alarm related. Maybe I'll show them off at some point. The biggest thing that I'm planning on doing with the fire alarm stuff, um, the biggest new project for my channel is going to be that I am compiling an intro to make at some point. Now, I know for most people that isn't a huge thing, but for me, I want to make it good. I will be taking some samples from that Electronic Firelight song and using that as part of the intro music if I end up doing that. So, hello, some dude with an exit sign. I might get a water flow for the outside of my house. I don't really know why you would need that, but cool. For demo. Might be salvaging a simplex system in the next few years, possibly 4100 system. I'll see if I can send you a few things. Cool. If that works out, I would love to get some free stuff. So thanks for that, man. What are my thoughts on the RSS and E50 being discontinued? I personally don't think it's a big deal. I mean, it's probably in Wheelock's best interest to eventually discontinue those types of products, considering they have new products out on the market now. There's really no need for them to be selling the older stuff anymore. So, from a professional standpoint, it's really not a big deal. I might get a 4002 8001. Cool. Good luck finding one. From my old school, you say there's a broken 4002 at your school? So, like, that's kind of interesting. It burned out. Hey, Fire Alarm Guy 13. Welcome. One thing I think I might mention is that once the school year gets rolling again, I think I might start bringing back like the either weekly or every other weekly Friday night streams because that was just kind of a thing that I did last year. They are replacing the panel with a 10 UD. I don't really know why you'd install a 10 UD in a school realistically because it's a zone, unless you want to like keep the zones, but in most cases they'll install an addressable panel and install like zone monitor modules for that kind of thing. I need a fire alarm. You can always buy one on eBay. Have I seen a simplex rebrand system sensor 1400? Yes, I have. I've seen them a few times. It's just something they did. It's a business thing. I need FCI MS2 new. I don't know if there's any of them for sale on eBay. I don't really check eBay that much anymore. So I got a new in-box FCI MS2 like 2.5 years ago. So it's the one that I have. So What smoke detector should I get to replace my 2151 from Ryan W's toy review? Jeez. Did you like break it or something? I mean, if you're going to use it with your 4006, I'd recommend just getting a conventional True Alarm. Or as Fire Alarm Guy 13 said, you could get an i3. Don't use a Kidda. I haven't heard good things about them, but I'm mostly hearing that from Fire Alarm Dude 5967, who seems to have some kind of thing with Kidda products. I haven't done enough research to form a real opinion on that, but I don't know. There's a guy who works Johnson Controls in a neighborhood close to me. He has a JCI truck. He possibly could be doing stuff with the fire alarms, although keep in mind that Johnson Controls is a very large company, so he could be working with another branch of the company. The problem with the detector is the magnetic test won't set off my panel and the panel stays red. Some dude with an exit sign, I really wouldn't recommend putting system sensor smoke detectors on a Simplex 4006. They're not compatible and problems can arise. That's why they tell you to use only compatible detectors, because things like that do happen. But that's why I recommend a 4006. Hopefully I'll talk with him and see if he's attack. Well, Fire Alarm Guy 13, I wish you luck with that. You always have to find a reason to talk to him at some point. Who was the blue CFL? He, if you've seen Discord, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he was a fire alarm enthusiast who was here on YouTube, who also worked as a volunteer firefighter. He was a fairly big name in our community, but he was more well known for being a firefighter in this more recent time. Unfortunately, just a couple of days ago, he passed away as a result of a medical emergency while he was on a fire call. So it's really unfortunate. But I see you've heard the news about that. I have a Kidda and it hasn't worked in a long time. I plan to upgrade the house system with an interconnected system. Jared, they sell wireless interconnected detectors. I would recommend that you got those. They have the 10-year batteries and all that stuff. If your house isn't already wired for a multiple station smoke detector system like that, I would recommend doing it that way. He was also owner of FADAC. That is correct. I need a 9833. Once again, you can find one on eBay probably. I need help with the smoke detectors. I'm assuming it's sad that the RSS is discontinued. I'm not really sad about it because I know it's a business decision that would have happened sooner or later anyway. Keep in mind the RSS had been produced for probably 25 years at this point, variations of it at least. So I'm being sarcastic about needing help. Yeah, well, sometimes it's hard to tell. I thought the RSS was already discontinued. I think the RSS was mainly still being made for like replacement parts for existing systems, but at this point, a lot of the systems that still have or would have used RSS strobes, it's fine to replace them with a Alexa or however you say that series strobe. So when will the RSS be discontinued? From the document that I read, they're going to stop making them on December 31st, 2021. So at the end of this year. That smoke alarm chirp is so annoying. Again, I can't find it, literally. I cannot find that smoke detector. I don't know where it is. It's been doing that for like 6 months, so. As I said, that smoke detector that's beeping, it's not any of the ones in our house. It's probably one that I pulled out at some point from various projects. I've been to a number of houses to replace smoke alarms just for family and friends. So it's probably one of those I have sitting in a big box somewhere. And I can't figure out which one is doing it. It doesn't bother me enough to go figure it out. So I wonder if Siemens will keep the E50s and the RSS. They still have the AS for indoor applications. I'm not sure. They recently started rebranding the older Wheelock LED strobes, those types of devices for fire alarm signaling. So they might still continue to carry those. I think they're going to rebrand the Alexa devices at some point, and they'll just start carrying those with the Siemens badge on them. I think that's what's going to end up happening, but I don't know. I went to an amusement park and they all had were Gamewell M46 95s and Gamewell BG12s. Cool. Um, let's see. Um, do I have an extra notifier key? I do have more than one notifier key. Eaton Wheelock still makes ZNSs and ZRSs for Siemens. As far as I know, that's still accurate because the rebadged ZNS Hornstrobes are like Siemens' flagship Hornstrobe that they carry. So safety, security, and fire alarms. I will not be sending you a key for free. If you want one, I would suggest going on eBay and buying a notifier key. You can get one for about $3. Jared, I did know that. I think someone might actually have one, although I don't know for sure. I wonder if a person would reverse engineer a fire alarm panel like a. Well, I know what fire alarm panels are, but I don't know. It depends on what you mean by reverse engineer. I don't think someone would like completely take one apart down to the individual components, but okay, yeah. I felt like someone had one of those, but couldn't remember. I had seen a Wheelock second gen AS with system sensor 2400 and ADT BG10s. Nice. Fire Alarm 9200 has a Dover Buzzer 4005, and so does Fire Alarm Tech Guy 4444. Huh. Well, I'll have to go check those out. Main Fire Alarms and EAS says I'm back. I had an ADT BG10. Is it rare? I think that would be pretty rare. I don't think I've ever actually seen one, so I don't know how everyone classifies what's rare versus uncommon versus whatever other term you might use. So I would say, yes, it's rare. Edwards BG10s are the rarest. I have only ever heard of the Edwards BG10s being used. I think like JJ 24, someone had one of them at some point. That would be the only time I'd ever heard of them. Are PDI Silent Night PSSA considered rare? I don't believe so. I don't know what's considered rare and what's not. It's really a matter of opinion for the most part. There's an electrical supplier here that has Edwards BG10s and bells. It's kind of an interesting setup. Not gonna lie. How am I expected to know all these questions? I don't know. Anytime I see a question, I try to answer it the best I can, but for a lot of these, I don't really have an exact answer. So imagine thinking a Spectral or Advance is vintage. You don't have to hate on Spectral or Advances so much, my guy. No real reason to. Have I heard of Advanced Fire Systems? I have, but I'm not super familiar with their product lines or anything. I might get a System Sensor 2400 smoke detector. I have a few of those. Pentium Man, has anyone heard of a Potter FA50? I would ask Hunter about that. Ever heard of Shane Daly? Unfortunately, I have, although I don't view any of his content on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I have it blocked, actually. Advanced AX. I am not a fan of their voice stuff. I don't believe I've ever heard that voice message specifically. I don't know why I still follow Shane hella well. Is there an alarm that sounds like a Wheelock or Wheelin 3016? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what a Wheelin 3016 is. It sounds like it might be one of those weird smoke alarm strobe things that you sometimes see, but that number doesn't sound familiar to me. You say it's a siren. I am not really familiar with sirens at all. I know how they work, but I don't know what the models of any of them are. So the reason I'm not a fan is because they use .wav 16-bit 8,000 kilohertz bit rate. Huh. So does Mike Rowe. Oh boy, I hate that guy. Not gonna lie, he gets on my nerves sometimes. I'm gonna get a 46T G6. Nice. Those are nice wheelock bells. Then there's Fire Alarm 67. Guys, I really don't prefer to criticize fellow enthusiasts on video, so I'm not going to make any comments about any of them, live for the world to see. But I will just say there are certain enthusiasts that do get on my nerves. I might get my school's AFC 600 because it looks like they have one. And they are about to replace the system. So if your school is actively replacing their fire alarm system, I would talk to the people who are installing the new system because they will be the people who pulled the old one. So if you become friends with the people who do it, they might set some stuff aside for you or tell you where they're going to put the old system. A lot of times they just take all the old equipment and throw it out in the dumpster when they're done. So certain companies do different things with old equipment. So some companies will actually take the equipment and go like recycle it somewhere, or they use it as spare parts. So any number of things can happen with old systems once they're removed. I did not save the 4002. EHS will be requested for preservation. Jared, do you know if they're like actually replacing the system at your old high school yet? Or is it just still there for the time being? Because it's very possible your school just might not be replacing their system anytime soon, so who knows? It's sad I didn't save the system at my dad's school. It was a one-of-a-kind system. Well, keep in mind, some dude with an exit sign, you said the system was replaced in 2012, and given that I think you said you're like 14, so if we go back, 8 or 9 years, you would have been a pretty little kid when that system got taken out. So you probably wouldn't have saved much at that age. I mean, obviously, if the installers who replaced the system knew of you, they might have given you a horn strobe and toll station, perhaps, but you probably wouldn't have gotten the whole system. It's still operational, however, I don't see it being there within the next few years. Well, the thing with the fire alarms, Jared, is that when they go to install a new system, that the old system will be functional and operational up until they pull it out. Like they'll power off the system, then they'll immediately start pulling out the old devices, and that is after the new system is fully complete. Your school has, I think you're saying L series, from what I'm getting from that. So that's cool. I'm gonna drive to Oregon to steal your 9221. What is the key lock on the 270? What? I'm not sure. I'm not aware of any 270 SPOs that use a key to reset, so. Or maybe they will reuse the old system. That isn't that common. Most of the time, the parts do just get scrapped. So, however, some companies do have certain licenses that allows them to refurbish old parts and let them be installed again. But most companies don't do that. My video is up. I don't know why you're advertising that on a live stream right now because we're all watching the stream, but I might go check it out after I'm done with the stream. So, do I know what weather radios are and do? I'm not super familiar with them, but I am aware of what they're used for. Let's go to Area 51 and get an alert lettering 40, 50, 80 strobe plate. Yeah, good luck with that. The government probably wouldn't have any 40, 50, 80s still installed in any of their facilities. They'd have replaced them by now with the amount of money they take in tax. Hello, Fire Alarm 33. Imagine using Bosch system. My place got a Silent Night 5208 with 8-inch bells with EST and GE 270 SPO. Are the single action pigtail BG12s rare? No, they are not because they are still being produced to this day. So they don't get installed all that much, but they are certainly not rare. Any new eBay items coming soon? Nope, not right now. I don't have anything coming for eBay at the moment. Are Spectre Alert advances rare? No. I see them everywhere. If an old pull station gets replaced, will it be a BG12? It will be whatever is spec'd for the building, or whatever the company that's servicing the system has on hand. What's the difference between a 270 SPO and a 270 DPO? I think it's like the contacts on the back of the switch or something like that, but I'm not sure. My Lowe's put in a firelight system, but instead of putting in L series, they put in Wheelock cedars. That is actually not, I've not heard of that happening. Most of these Lowe's replacements are obviously L series alarms. So that's certainly a that's a different thing. Thank you, some dude with an exit sign. I will not be saying that on stream. Smashed alert. Y'all have a strange hatred of Spectre Alert advances. I think it's kind of funny. Have I been to Cargo Largo recently? Last time I went there was the last time I posted about it. So last time I went there, I didn't get anything that would interest you. So what is Cargo Largo? That is a store in Kansas City area, and they basically sell items that they're usually new, but somehow they've become unfit for general retail sale. So they end up at Cargo Largo a lot of times, and oftentimes fire alarms are part of that. So usually I can find like it's just various Honeywell system sensor products most of the time. Like one of the times I went not too long ago, I got this pull station. This was a Cargo Largo find. It was like $20, new in box. So I'm like, let's grab it. I don't have a single action BG12, so. Hi, Western Dakota Sirens. What is the best alarm I got from Cargo Largo? I've never gotten anything that like most people would write home about there. The best thing I got there was more because of the price. I got a BG12LX for $13, new in box. I hate advances because they're way too common and overrated. I don't believe they're overrated, except for by a very small sector of the community during the year 2020. But I think for the most part, people see them for what they are. They're just a fire alarm at the end of the day. Everyone has one, so they're nothing special. No yamming. Absolutely no yamming. We've had enough of that. The Y word is banned. That is correct. Fire Alarm Guy 13 has spoken. Why is the Y word not alive? Because I said it's not. BG10s are really fragile. I mean, I haven't had any issues with them. If you do break the screw thing on them, you can always just get a bigger screw to put in there. So Is that a Siemens ZHMCR or is it a wheel lock? This one is a wheel lock, as you can see on the bottom. No Siemens label. It's just a regular wheel lock. My local newly built store had a brand new System Sensor Advances ceiling mount in 2017 before they got discontinued. Nice. Got some storms yesterday. Nice. My first alarm was a Wheelock NS. Nice. I do really like the Wheelock NS devices. They're quite nice in my opinion. Did I hear Wheelock discontinued products? Of course I did. Ooh, a white one. That's nice. Ooh. Jake just hit. Yes. It must have been after that video. But good job, Kansas Fire Alarms, for getting 300 subscribers. You heard it from Fire Alarm Guy 13 first. Sadly, it died. That's unfortunate. It's uncommon to see a brand new System Sensor Advance. I mean, anymore you won't see them, so they've been discontinued for a few years. What I want to do was, at the end of high school, because it was getting torn down, was, well, first a non-ADA system, so I want to stick Post-it notes on the alarms questioning the safety of them. Well, if the school was torn down, then obviously that system doesn't exist anymore, so it's no longer non-ADA, it's in a landfill somewhere. I'll give you the SK2. See you in a bit, Fire Alarm Guy 13. It was my favorite conventional panel. I don't know. I don't really mess around with conventional systems anymore. Although I would say the nicest one that I know of would probably be a Simplex 4006 or perhaps a Firelight 10UD. If I own a 5UD, I'm basic. Well, I do not own a 5UD, so. Who here's talking about steak? I actually had steak for breakfast this morning. I went to a restaurant and got some. I had a steak and eggs and potatoes meal, and I got that. It's real good. My PNC bank has a 5UD. Nice. In my area, at least, I don't think they really install conventional systems anymore. They're pretty much all like the ES50X panels, or if they do install conventional panels, they're like the stupid Honeywell fire burglar panels. It's a small building. Understandable. Great in my area. Most new buildings they build for commercial use are probably at least 10,000 square feet in most cases. They don't usually build like small buildings for anything. They either make strip malls or it's like a big box store of some sort. So When am I doing a face reveal? I don't plan on doing one. When did BG12s have pigtails? I think the single action ones usually do. Like this one, for instance, has them. But most of the regular dual action BG12s have the terminals on the back. My band has an old Edwards system with an Edwards 895B201. These are pretty interesting. I don't think I've actually seen like an older Edwards system out in the wild anywhere. So what is the temperature in Kansas? Right now it's probably about 90 degrees outside, if I had to guess. But the temperature ranges. It can get up to 100 and something in the summer, and it goes down to single digits in the winter. Usually doesn't usually get into the negatives. How did I convince my parents to put up a home system? I'll tell you. I did it very, very slowly. So it started with just in the basement. Then I snuck a wire up to my room. I literally ran it outside the house. Then I had a horn strobe in the basement connected to stuff in the downstairs. Then I ran the SLC upstairs, and it was just in my room for a little bit. And then about a few months after that, I put a horn strobe out in the hallway. About a month later, put a smoke detector. About a month after that, put a pole station. I just kind of eased them into it. And nowadays, I don't mess with the home system enough when they're around. Like, I never set it off when they're home, so. Have I ever been to Scotland? No, I have not. Have I had the home system go off lately? The other day I did a test on the system, but we haven't had any false alarms with it. I am installing a system in my parents' new built house. Cool. What was my first panel? I had an MS2 for a while, but it's completely dead. Uh, I have not been outside of North America, so no. I wanted an FPD 7024. Sounds, isn't that one of those Bosch panels? I think. TP Gamer 421, hello. Did it end up like Fire Alarm Guy 13's SK2? On mine, the NACs don't work. The auxiliary power doesn't work either. The zones sometimes work, but I don't have like a big crack in the board where the AC power light goes off when I try to hit reset or anything like that. Are EOLs used on addressable systems? Not on the SLCs, because those work by just the devices communicate directly with the panel through their addresses, but on the NACs, you still use end-of-line resistors. Are the enunciators on the 4006 and 4008 useful or useless? I mean, I don't really have any use for an enunciator for that system, but it just depends on the application. If your system could use an enunciator, it's obviously useful, but I don't have any use for it. It's not inherently useful or useless. What? I don't know. Oh, hey, Simplex Fire Alarm Guy. Oh, they display the enunciators on the cabinets. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I feel like it would be kind of cool, but they really don't serve much practical purpose. Welcome back, Fire Alarm Guy 13. See you later, Western South Dakota Sirens. Is anyone ever going to replace the smoke alarm battery? As I mentioned, it's buried somewhere under a bunch of stuff I pulled out, so I don't know where that smoke detector is. I'm just going to let that battery die. If you can find a 4006 or 4008 LED annunciation, go for it, but it's not needed. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Some enthusiasts won an EST2 on a bid. I wonder what they are going to do with it. Well, I can tell you exactly who won that bid. It's that Kevin kid on Instagram, so I don't think much is going to happen with that. He'll get locked out of it. Since Johnson Controls owns Simplex, will monitor modules work with the Simplex panel? No, they will not. The older, like Honeywell type monitor modules will not work on a Simplex panel. Someone bought a Simplex 4002 that was listed for parts. Guess they're going to fix it. I suppose you could. Or maybe they just need like the cards out of it or something. Who knows? I want to get a 4002 at some point. I hope you get one at some point because while I don't plan on ever buying one, I feel like they would be kind of cool. So I would say go for it. I want a 2001 more than a 4010. You know, I think I should probably make another video of my 2001 at some point because I still have it on that same board, although I haven't really made any videos with it since then because I haven't changed it. But I figured maybe I could make another video with it. So I guess if you guys want me to make a video, just say like yes or no in the stream real quick. Do a drum solo. Fire Alarm Guy 13, I'll do one later. How's that sound? I'm currently kind of screwing around with the drumstick, but it was the oldest Simplex panel I know of. Probably like they had older like AC panels that came before the 4208 and such, so it's probably one of those panels. All right, see you later, main fire alarms and EAS. See you later. All right. It's kind of funny. My laptop that's currently running this stream is having a real good time. Apparently, the fans are getting kind of loud on it, so that's fun. Ever heard of the more what? Nope, I have not heard of that. What phone do I have? I have a Samsung A51 5G. Why am I doing this? Because I feel like it. Is the 4006 16 by 16 like the MS2? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. If you mean the case dimensions, it's about probably 18 inches by 18 inches. It's a square, about 18 inches, and then it's probably 5 or 6 inches deep. So it's a little bigger than an MS2. Luckily, I don't have 5G. Oh, mayo. 5G works pretty well, so it's nice. 4010s are massive, but I recommend it. Jared, if you wanted a smaller addressable simplex panel, I would honestly recommend you get a 4008. They're actually not that big. As I said, the dimensions of the panel are probably, I don't think they're quite 18 inches. I'd say it's about probably 17 by 17. And the case is about 5 or 6 inches deep. I have a 31T 115 that I'm too scared to power because it's loud. I would recommend trying it. 4005 is yeah, 4005s are pretty big. I think they might actually be bigger than the 4010s, but I'm not entirely sure how big they are. Is the 4005 good? I assume it is, although someone who actually owns a 4005 would have to tell me. Reset time is way too long, though. That's what's nice about my simplex panel. Its reset time is about 10 seconds, which isn't too bad. But I'd say if you wanted to compare a simplex 4008 to something that you'd be more familiar with, it's comparable to a Firelight MS9050. I mean, no need for a panel as much as I want. Jared, I feel like what would be cool for you to do is when you eventually get your own house. I feel like you could make a pretty cool home system with that was like entirely simplex. But if you were to do that, you would want to get a panel. Home system, yeah, kind of like the system I have installed in my house. Fard light. Oh boy. If we renovate our house includes walls, I'll probably have an L series and BG12 Ls. Sounds like a good idea. I guess Pentium Man, if you wanted to, you could do a home system, although I don't know why you would do the single most common setup you can find at pretty much any building that's being built these days, so maybe. I might, but they're not at all my favorite. I'm assuming you're referring to home systems. If so, they're not for everyone, so you obviously don't have to do one if you don't want to. I'm referring to Firelight. Nice. Don't like modern stuff. If I did a home system, which is still a possibility for the near future, I would use mid 90s stuff. For me, I personally prefer with a home system to use more modern equipment because it's more high tech and usually easier to install. Like the way I'm able to do the True Alerts and have them installed the way I have them is because they are very lightweight and they're flat on the back, which makes it a lot easier to make them almost look flush mounted. So that's my take. I've actually been thinking about a possible renovation for the home system that involves. So, if you know the area under the stairs, I've been thinking about updating that area, removing that weird setup that's currently there, and moving that horn strobe and replacing it with a 9129, like what's in the rest of the house, and installing it on the first floor, kind of by like at the top of the first floor stairs. So instead of it being like in that space under the stairs, it'd be like just outside of it in the first floor hallway. So at that point, the system would be all 92 or 9129s, 4906 9129s. I had four at one time. I'm assuming you're still talking about your 9221s and 9222s. If so, I think those would actually be a cool home system because you'd get that 90s mechanical horn throughout the building sound that you hear. And then you could still have one in your collection, which would be pretty cool. All right, Pentium man. If you think the 4903s are loud, which they are, they're about as loud as my home system. They obviously shake the walls more and travel through the walls a little bit better, but the True Alerts, they are insanely loud. Like my system, when it goes off, I swear it could wake the dead. Ninety-two 5253 is not as loud as the True Alerts. So most people, when they think of how loud a True Alert is, they think of the free run ones because those are the ones they've probably heard. But I will tell you, the SmartSync True Alerts are significantly louder. Simplex 9806s are brutal. I agree with that. They are very, very loud. Simplex 9806s are 100 decibels, and LOL. What I find strange is that I've measured sound levels throughout my house with a sound meter that you can buy for free. Buy for free, that's a bit of an oxymoron. Anyway, they say that the loudest my home system gets is 80 decibels, which I don't buy because it seems far louder than that. I would say standing right underneath a horn strobe is a solid 90 decibels. SmartSync ones use a different horn from the free run and they're like 10 decibels louder. I would say that's correct. I think the free run ones are about probably 75 to 80 decibels. SmartSync ones are easily 85 to 90 decibels. Wonder how addressable True Alerts compare to SmartSync horns. I'd imagine the volume level is similar, but they're obviously a different sound in themselves. The free runs have a higher pitched sound. That is correct. Basically, the SmartSync horns have the same free run sound almost, but it removes the high overtones, and it somehow made it louder. So the SmartSync horns are basically the free run sound without the high pitched overtones that you can hear in it, and it's obviously quite a bit louder. Did Simplex make a SmartSync mechanical horn? They made mechanical horns with sync strobes on them, but they weren't SmartSync by the definition of two-wire SmartSync that is the protocol that my home system uses. Jared Thompson, yes, the horn strobes on my system are two-wire. Why the 7002T strobe skips? I'm not exactly sure exactly why it does it. I know it has something to do with the power fluctuations that happen with the strobe charging, but I'm not super familiar on what it does. I think Fire Alarm Guy 13 has a better explanation there. FC high HP horns can kill you. I doubt that. I don't know how those would kill you. Pentium Man, those horns are really not too bad. They're pretty similar to the 9806s. I have used them before. They are pretty loud, but they're definitely not going to kill you with the sound. I got a 7002T rebranded by Spectronics. Nice. Have I seen a Faraday 6123B? Not sure. Model number doesn't sound familiar to me. Adaptahorn, I do own an Adaptahorn. My 7002T is an Ellen Co. rebrand. Nice. I have a Pyrotronics rebranded 7002T, but I love how none of us have like actual Wheelock 7002Ts. I mean, I have an older Wheelock 7002 with the open grill, but It's a 2901 9840. Okay. If you want a quiet electronic 4903, get a 92, 36, or 37. I mean, they're all about the same volume. It's just a matter of strobe candela. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Simplex, believe it or not, rebranded the Adaptahorn. I don't think I've heard of that happening. I mean, I have an actual 7002T, but it's an older one with a black sounder plate. I mean, that's still a Wheelock 7002T. I want to get a Firelight 7002T. Good luck with that. Maybe they'll show up on eBay at some point, but they're definitely not common. .4051s are not that loud if you tighten the screw. I don't personally agree with that because I have a 4051 and it might be one of my loudest horns. It's louder than 9806s, I feel like. They're STH-72. Oh, hey, Fahrenheit 4051. Simplex did indeed rebrand the Adaptahorn for various locations. Model 4901 9802 for 24 volts and 4901 9502 for 120 volts AC. I actually did not know that. I'll have to look those up after the stream. Are EHS EL1s loud? Probably. I mean, I don't own one, but I have Wheelock EH series devices, and they are pretty loud. They're like $500 on eBay. Classic. Yes, they are horrendously loud. Fahrenheit, I'm going to tell you a little secret. The 9252s and like the older free run True Alerts, yes, they're loud. I think the loudest horn of that type is the SmartSync True Alert, like the ones I use. Like in my videos, it's kind of hard to pick up, but the my home system, if you're standing within probably 10 feet of a horn strobe, it is painfully loud. Like I can't stand to not wear earplugs when testing my home system. That is correct. They are getting older and rarer. Yeah, I did an inspection with SmartSync True Alerts on continuous. It was horrible. Yep. Welcome to my house. I have an update that I'm planning to do with the horn strobes where the horn strobe under the stairs on my system might be moved to be on the first floor. If I do that, it is also getting replaced with 9129, and at that point, I'll probably just put the horn strobes on code 3. Or I might leave it on continuous, I don't know. Hey, vintage fire alarm guy. How am I? I'm pretty good today. Decided today would be a perfect day to do a live stream. My high school had that. I'm now has the 9219. It's a big school and it's loud. The 9219s aren't terrible. They're definitely loud. They're not the loudest thing I've ever heard, I'll tell you that. The 9252s were the loudest alarms I heard in person. Cool. Yeah, if they echo, they'll probably seem louder. My high school has 9219s in temporal. Pretty quiet on temporal. I'd imagine if you have 9219s in an actual building, they're usually spaced out pretty far, so they're not as bad. At my school, I've mentioned this way too many times, but again, it's a Siemens XLS system. It has these guys rebranded by Siemens, obviously. Um, I did an estimation. There's literally like 700 of them in the building of those horn strobes, and they're spaced in a way that they're both quiet and loud all at the same time. Like it's almost a soft sound that's not super intense, but when you're in an area, a lot of the school is like concrete and brick, even though it's like only 10 years old. So with these horns spaced probably every 20 to 30 feet, and most of them are on high volume, yeah, it gets rather loud. Can confirm Jared Thompson does not want all of the fire alarms. He mostly likes his simplex stuff. I got to catch them all. I haven't really been collecting much lately. My collection is pretty much complete, in my opinion. I do plan on selling off some duplicates at some point and getting a few things that I don't have, but I think for the most part, my collection is pretty well complete. All right. Fahrenheit 4051, if you could, I would appreciate you answering that because I am actually not super familiar on why the 7002T does that skipping thing. I, of course, have a general knowledge of why it does it, but I'm not super technical about why. The strobe was wired to the horn such that the movement of the horn contacts was used to create pulsing required to flash the strobe. This means the strobe can be made with fewer components, but will not work without the horn being without being wired to the horn in that specific way. Of course, the momentary surge in current interrupted the horn. Sounds about right from what I was able to hear. It's more efficient, which meant it could be cheaper. I might want a United Security Products FHS 24. Not only that, but Wheelock marketed the skipping as a feature rather than a bug since it was easier to hear in louder environments. That same reason is why Code 3 became a standard signal coding. Someone once told me that the reason Code 3 became standard practice was because it was much harder to ignore in any type of environment. The only reason I might want MDL is to code in 9219. All simplex. Nice. Jared, I remember you talking about, didn't you say like the fire alarm system at your workplace is defective or something? I don't know what the deal is with that. I mean, it's probably fine if it keeps getting passed year after year, but I know you've mentioned that. Would I rather have a 4001 or a 4004? Probably a 4001 because they're older and less common. And when you get down to it, they're pretty much the same thing, except obviously 4001 is a little bit older, which I think makes it kind of nice. How a 4002? If I was offered a free 4002, I would take it. They are obviously cool panels, although I don't think I would ever like buy one. I think 4001s are usually shipped with standard DC, but obviously as time goes on, the filtering used to be done with capacitors, so a lot of them, a lot of those capacitors would die over time, so they'd give out FWR power. A lot of the 2001s did as well, although mine, I don't think the capacitor on my 2001 has gone out yet. I hope it doesn't. Jared, if you manage to get a panel from your work, I would recommend not blowing it up. If you really didn't want it, I'd recommend selling it because people tend to want to buy those systems. A vintage fire alarm guy, I would figure out the voltage and capacitance of the capacitor and just buy one that's the same voltage and capacitance. It should do the same thing. Jared, I think the system at your work probably is technically fine. It obviously probably isn't the best it could possibly be, but I don't think it's gonna necessarily just get ripped out, so who knows? Amsico BZ50VL. I think that's one of those older horns they used to sell. What happened to Faraday? It was absorbed by Siemens. Don't they need oil for the mechanical mechanism? Most mechanical horns, I don't believe they need oil to run. It's usually just like a solenoid that drives it. My 9838 runs on diesel. Nice. Panel has a broken LCD and never went into alarm after a fire. There's a problem with the fire suppression because everyone likes to mess with the valves. Well, that is not good. I think if you are really concerned about the system, I would talk to your manager, who, if that manager cares, he or she should go report that to the proper authorities. They should get their inspection company out there. My 4001 runs on corn oil flex fuel. Not my problem since they don't care. It sounds to me like you've already brought it up, and if you have, that's all you can really do. If they don't care and you are really, really concerned about it, I might talk to your state fire marshal. Sometimes they'll come in and do surprise inspections. Oh, geez. Did I start off another trend? It's like the yam thing. My RSS runs on mercury power. I guess I'll contribute. My 5820XL totally runs on rocket fuel. Of course, I'm kidding. I should go to a shooting range and shoot my SK2. Jeez. Y'all are violent towards your stuff. It's like that fire alert moment when he shot a Commander 4. All of that was pretty funny. My 9806 runs on Red Bull. Jeez, kids. I took my BG12 and I threw it on the ground. I don't. Did you ever own a BG12, Jared? If I get one, then yes. Jared, if that's the case, I would recommend just like not buying a BG12. So it's a pretty easy way to avoid that. My MS4 runs on Pepsi. Jeez, guys. I don't want this to be the next Yam. So my 9219 is a Detroit diesel. Jeez. Oh boy. Yep, I officially created the new Yam. So for those of you who don't know the Yam story, someone just started saying Yam in one of my streams one time, and then they just absolutely spammed the chat with it, and now I ban people from saying that. So yeah, it seems my new thing is what bizarre fuel methods do we have for the fire alarms? I think the best one I've seen yet is my 9833s sound high pitched because they run on helium. That one's my favorite. Oh god, I have Yam flashbacks. Ah. Spectralers run on baby powder. Oh my lord. My V33s are unique that they are both made out of yams and run on sweet potato batteries. My 9838 runs on the blood of cows, JK. My 9303 doesn't. My SK2 runs nuclear waste. My L series mount runs on Duncan. Goes soy. Glad to hear that your 450D is having a very healthy diet. Running all them soybeans. My 9845 runs on Xanax. Jeez. Oh boy. It's a Rafflecopter. America runs on Duncan. ZNSs run on McDonald's. Must be why they're so obnoxious. Eat all that fast food. My fire alarm runs on veggie juice. What the heck, people? My ZNS runs on being thrown and broken. All right. Well, it's about 1:30, so it's about time for me to head out of the stream. So I want to go ahead and thank you all for watching. Been streaming for about an hour and a half, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to check out the links in my description that will be added fairly soon. This chat runs on cancer. That is always correct. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.